Welcome to Nursing Success TV, where we share stories and ideas to help you chart your future. We've added a new feature to Nursing Success TV so we can hear directly from you. Click on the Share Your Comments banner below and tell us what you like, the information you like the most, and what you'd like to see in future episodes. Coming up this month, Dr. Phyllis offers ideas on dealing with a hostile work environment. Dr. Carol Tuttas has ideas on finding that critical first job. And nurse educator Carol Patterson shares her experiences.
Ask Dr. Phyllis is proudly brought to you by New York Presbyterian Hospital. Amazing things are happening here.
Today's question for Dr. Phyllis comes from Oregon. Sue, who has a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, writes, I was so excited to be one of the few new graduates in nursing to get a job 6 months ago, but it's been 6 months of pure torture. I'm ordered to do all the work no one else wants to do. If I ask a question, I'm made fun of and get comments like, did you actually go to nursing school? I'm considering quitting, but I may not be able to find another job. I really want to become a great nurse, but how can that happen when no one will help me?
Sue, there is an old adage that nurses eat their young, and I am at a loss to give you a reasonable explanation as to why this behavior exists. But just understand one thing, it is unacceptable. However, trying to change the temperament of one person, let alone a unit, can be a daunting task. You did not mention whether this behavior is condoned by your manager, and if it is, the situation is more serious than sad, because having an offline conversation with her asking for guidance how you could manage the situation is not going to be possible because she's given you no reason for you to trust her. So my thoughts are, you should be very patient with a definite endpoint, which is patient safety. If this initiation right begins to interfere with your ability to give good, safe care, then you must act before there is an untoward event and someone gets hurt. I would strongly recommend following the steps that are outlined in the evidence-based practice known as team steps. If patient safety is in question, you must consider going to your human resource department or your director of nursing. I would bring facts to that meeting and not emotion. But if patient safety is not in question and you're really invested in trying to make this work, then I would consider the divide and conquer approach and try to win your staff mates over one person at a time. I would begin with the most civil person and work from there. Demonstrating resilience and killing them with kindness is going to confuse them at first, but eventually you'll break the ice. In the end, Sue, you may have to leave the facility, but I would be sure to secure a new position before I did so, and if it's at all possible, secure one written reference before you say goodbye.
Email your questions to askdrphyllis@nursingsuccess.tv. New graduates can face challenges finding that all-important first job, especially when they're competing for the same position as experienced nurses. Dr. Carol Tuttas says new grads can begin by thinking outside traditional settings and be willing and able to go where the jobs are.
I think by being flexible and mobile, you can get out there and get the experience that you need. For example, a rural care setting is one of the areas where there is a great need for nurses right now. And keep in mind that in a rural healthcare setting, there are often a little bit fewer resources available, which means the nurses are going to gain that much more experience. Never rule out long-term care, especially in this age of baby boomers reaching retirement. Hospice nursing is another example of a potential because, again, hospice is becoming more well known for its family care and benefits for both family and patients. Rehabilitation nursing is another area where perhaps it's not the nurse's first choice. A lot of our new grads, they want to get into the highly acute areas, the ERs, the ICUs. But rehab is the step where the patient is going to actually get back into their real life. And with our new ACA and healthcare reform, there's going to be a greater need for nurses working in the community, and that may open up doors to residencies and preceptorships that didn't exist before. I met a nurse in the gym one day, and he was a new nurse, new grad, and he couldn't find a job. And where he went was a substance abuse rehabilitation center. It wasn't his first choice of a job, but once he got there and he got on board, he loves it there. He has found a niche and discovered that this is a very rewarding area to practice in. I think it's important for the new grad to think about goals for the future right away and start exploring what is going to be required of me to be eligible for that job that I so want. Meanwhile, I'm going to make myself available and mobile to go where the jobs are and get myself some experience, while at the same time exploring the requirements, education, and so forth that are required for me to move into the dream job that I've always had.
One Nurse's Success is brought to you by Health One, leading hospitals, trusted care.
Nursing educators play a critical role in developing and mentoring nurses. Carol Patterson is the New Jersey League for Nursing Board President, an associate professor of health science education, and has over 30 years' experience in nursing education. Today, she shares why choosing to be a nursing educator is so fulfilling.
I think I've been taking care of people pretty much all my life. People in my household were ill. It seemed like I was always bandaging somebody's bird that fell out of a tree, or when someone got a cut or a bruise or whatever. So I think that's maybe it was always in the background. I just didn't realize it. And I knew that it was nursing, not medicine, because I like to spend more time with people and have the opportunity to talk about health and health maintenance rather than just fixing things that are wrong. Well, I came out in 75, and here on the East Coast, jobs were really at a premium. There were a lot of us graduating and not a lot of jobs. As a nurse, you can't disengage from education. You really can't, whether it's formal or informal. And I was able to balance out at that point in my life, but I made some active decisions that I deferred being a mom until I could get that taken care of. And I'm glad for that, because the teaching had afforded me the opportunity for a lot more flexibility. And so when I got to the point of raising a daughter, who, by the way, is a nurse now, just thought I'd say that. I share with students that they have to have a why for what they're doing. And the why has to drive you when you're exhausted and you don't want to get up and you don't want to do another thing. I believe that my job as an educator is to discover the student's passion. And when I find it, it's this tiny little match. And so my job is to really oxygenate it, really make that into a fire that's got to be sustaining. And I need to build into this their ability to keep themselves together and keep moving forward with a purpose. Healthcare isn't a mess. We have fiscal constraints, we have legal constraints. You can get really tied up in knots. So it's really important that a student gets a picture of what that passion is and being able to maintain that fire, because I see that passion or their why as sort of being a survival raft. And if they could just stay on the raft, no matter how bad the rapids are going to get, they're going to survive. And they're going to get bounced around a lot. And so I want to build in some protection along the way. Thoreau has a quote: "Could a greater miracle take place than for us to look through each other's eyes for an instant?" I started this whole adventure of being a nurse and then being a nurse educator because I thought teaching was going to help me to have a transforming experience for my students. And so in the beginning, I thought, I'm busy transforming them, and making them wonderful. Well, the truth is that the transformation is taking place, but they are transforming me. I've also been cared for in pretty bad crises by students. I was very ill, was laying on a stretcher, and finally was sort of going in and out of consciousness. And I opened my eyes to look up into the face of a student probably maybe 8 years earlier, had graduated. And as I looked up at her face, she said, "You just close your eyes and rest easy. I'm here, and I'm a good nurse, and I'm going to take good care of you." And I remember her that night. It was New Year's Eve, and she took me on the stretcher on a tour of the unit, and she sat by my bed. And she came in the next day on her day off and sat by my bed. And I thought, what greater gift than that? And that's happened a few times. So I know that they're touching a lot of other people. And how powerful is that to be allowed the privilege of working with someone whose life is going to change, and they're going to change the lives of others. It's why I get up in the morning.
Nursing Success TV can be watched on any computer, laptop, tablet, or smartphone. You can instantly share Nursing Success TV with your colleagues and friends quickly and easily by email, social media, or sending a direct link. Don't miss an episode. Simply click subscribe to receive each monthly episode.
Thanks for joining us today, and remember, we want to hear from you. Remember to click the banner below this video player to share your ideas and suggestions for Nursing Success TV. We'll see you next time.